What's going on, everybody? This is BroncoJuggalo, motherfuckers.
Okay, and this is Bill.
And today we are starting a brand new film series, guys. A brand new review series. Something like that. Films, reviews, whatever. Same thing, right?
Yeah.
We decided we're going to start going over. Now, it's not going to be a segment. But we decided we're going to start going over all the classic Universal Monster films.
Yes.
Starting with all the originals, all the main ones, and then maybe we'll try to get into the sequels somewhat.
Yeah.
I still got to buy a couple. He's got a few.
Yeah.
But there's some that, but anyways, we're going to start with the main ones.
Hey,
okay?
but October's coming up. Maybe we'll be able to get some more of these films.
Yeah.
At a good price.
Yeah, it's cool. I got the Mummy Legacy Collection I found for $1 at a yard sale.
There you go.
So,
there you go.
But tonight, guys, we are starting with the Todd Browning 1931 classic that started it all, Dracula.
This is an amazing film.
He's got the Legacy Collection. I've got the Blu-ray, that I've been collecting. Finally getting all these. So happy.
And speaking of that, Walmart is carrying these Legacy collections.
Yeah, right
There's
now.
a lot of films on here.
Yeah.
And it's like $15. Now, if you're not into the black and whites, don't waste your money. But if you are, $15 for all these films.
And if you call yourself a true horror fan, it's definitely a must pick up, in my opinion.
Oh, I think
even
so,
if you're
too.
not, you may not be the biggest fan of that kind of genre, but just the respect of the roots of what it is.
The nostalgia.
Carl Friend, or Frund, I'm not sure exactly how it's pronounced. Carl Friend, I believe. Frund. I don't fucking know. Carl Friend.
It's probably Frund or something like that.
It's Freund. So, and it's a German name.
Yeah.
Anyways, he is the cinematographer who does an amazing job, by the way.
Oh, yes.
Even in black and white, it's amazing. And he is actually not credited, but a lot of the people that worked on the film said he basically directed the film. That Todd Browning honestly wasn't around a lot, and Carl Frund had to take over. So that's just, he's not credited, but he is a co-director of the film, and he's acknowledged as the co-director of the film by a lot of fans.
There you go. At least he gets some love.
Even from the people, I was watching the documentary behind the scenes thing they did back in the 90s on it.
Yeah.
With the niece of, she's in the movie. She plays the girl at the beginning who's in the carriage that's talking and reading from the book.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was watching that, and I mean, she's like 90 in the thing, but her uncle was Carl Laemmle, the founder of Universal Films.
Oh, nice.
The guy that brought all these films to us. Yeah. Anyways, it was really cool watching all that. I really enjoyed it. Guys, this to me is the quintessential Dracula film.
If you have to watch one, if you've never seen a vampire film, I don't know. It's either, there are two. There's this one and Nosferatu. Well,
the reason why I say this one is the quintessential Dracula film is this is the film that basically everybody that's come after has pretty much given homage or based a lot of their performance off of.
Yes.
Now, I found some shocking details. It turns out that I always thought that Christopher Lee kind of modeled some of his performance after Bela Lugosi. But he didn't. He actually didn't even like Bela Lugosi's performance.
Oh, really?
He didn't think it matched the character.
Oh.
And he wanted... But, his voice always reminded me of it, but I guess that's just how... So, he never liked Bela Lugosi's performance. However, Gary Oldman, who plays Dracula in Bram Stoker's Dracula, who's also a very celebrated actor, and, he loved Bela Lugosi's performance, and he tried to model a lot of what he did after Lugosi.
I could see that, actually. I can. It's been a long time since I've watched that.
I love Lugosi's performance. We're going to get into that here in a minute. I just got a couple more things to talk about, then we'll get to the pros and cons. Now, this film was selected for preservation by the Library of Congress, and this was actually the first sound film, the first film with sound about Dracula. There was actually two films before. There was, as he mentioned earlier, Nosferatu, which was supposed to be destroyed. The wife of Bram Stoker, she sued because they ripped off the book without permission. They did not have permission to do the movie.
Oh, okay.
She won, and they were supposed to destroy every print that existed.
Well, thank God it didn't get destroyed.
A couple of them survived, and that's how we can still see it.
It is an amazing film.
There was also another film, I believe, that came out of Belgium or something like that, also based on Dracula. It didn't do very well, but it was still based on Dracula. But this was the first film with sound that was based on Dracula. And I thought that was pretty cool.
It is.
A lot of them, they say, though, was based more off the play of Dracula that was already been out than the book.
Oh,
because the play, in the book, Dracula is not like he is in the movie. You know how Bela Lugosi kind of makes him suave, sophisticated, also kind of almost, there's a sexual undertone there, even though they don't talk about sex. But
there is.
In the original book, if you ever read it, I haven't read it. I read it once, I think, back in high school.
I have not read it.
But the original novel, he's not depicted that way. He's depicted as...
like the Nosferatu version?
A little more like Nosferatu, like scary and evil and grimy and just fucking death. You know?
Yeah.
At the same time of filming this movie, they actually did a completely different Dracula Spanish film. It's all in Spanish. It's available on this Blu-ray with Dracula. It has subtitles if you want to watch it. Supposedly, I have been told by a lot of people, and even some of the actors have said, that the Spanish version with a completely different cast is better than the English version.
Oh.
Back in the day, they used to make a lot of films for Latin Americans because, you know, Hollywood, Southern California, based around Latin Americans, they just did that. I think it's so cool how back in the day, people were more together at that point, at least in that part of the country, than they are now, which is fucked up, but whatever.
Let's not get into that.
Yeah, please. Anyways, but the English crew would come and film during the day, and the Spanish crew would come and film at night. They both did the exact same sets. They had the same costumes, basically, everything, but they just did it a little different, and supposedly the performances are even just a little bit better. I will say this: the lady that played, she wasn't called Mina, I don't think, in the film for the Spanish version, is really pretty.
Oh, really pretty. Okay.
So I'm gonna watch the Spanish version. I actually had it on VHS. I had it on VHS, but I sent it to Joe as just kind of a gift. Yeah. Because he likes the oddball, weird things, and that's a pretty rare VHS, the Spanish version of the movie. Yeah. So I sent it to him. Just for friendship. The studio did not want Bela Lugosi. They wanted somebody else. They wanted Lon Chaney, and they wanted somebody like that, the man of 1,000 faces, you know. But Bela Lugosi, he ached for the role. He worked for the role. What's the fucking word I'm trying to think of right now?
He wanted it.
He proactive. Goddamn, what's the fucking word I'm thinking of? Not promoted. He actively pursued the role.
There you go, pursued.
He actively pursued the role, and he basically badgered them, and he had to take a huge pay cut, and he only made $3,500 for the whole movie.
Oh, wow.
7 weeks of filming. Back then, these movies were shot over a long period of time. 7 weeks, $500 a week.
But still, back then, that was a lot of money.
But there was other actors in the film that got paid more than him, and he was the star.
Yeah, but still, again, that was still a lot of money back then.
He never broke character, and he would go and like mess around people, and he would yell at them, "I am Dracula," and it actually pissed a lot of people off. I guess Bela Lugosi was not an easy person to work with sometimes. But then after the movie, he wanted nothing to do with it. He thought he was going to be typecasted as Dracula, which ended up happening anyways. And he didn't want to do any of the sequels or anything like that, so they got somebody else. He only appeared in one other film as Dracula, and that is Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
There you go. Only one other time.
Alright guys, so pros and cons time. Start with cons. I have none. You?
Okay. Now I know this is from these films of the time. It's the first one with sound. I thought, my first con for this film is, I thought they didn't utilize music enough.
Really?
I did not think they utilized music enough. I think they could have set... like, the atmosphere of this film is amazing, but get into that later. But it could have been even more amazing if they utilized music more.
See, I thought that they utilized the music very well.
I didn't
that
think
one
they did.
theme song that's like synonymous with Dracula.
Yeah,
it's called Swan Lake, I guess.
A lot of the movie, there is no music.
A lot of those films back then, they had to pick and choose, you know.
I know.
But
That's why I'm saying.
There is a lot of scenes, I don't know if you noticed this, but there's a lot of scenes where they put the music in where there's nobody talking. They're very long scenes. Like, you just see shots. Like, when he's going to get somebody... I didn't think
they utilized it enough.
When he's going to get somebody, he's like, you know, and it's just real slow looking.
Yeah.
And he goes down on him to get him, and there's just music playing, and that's it. And they did that because they were trying to build the atmosphere without the dialogue.
Yeah, but I don't think they utilized it enough. They could have utilized it a little more in this film.
All right.
But, hey, that's me. I thought that they could have done more with it. All right. My second con for this film is we get, what's her name? Lucy?
The first girl that he takes?
Yeah. Lucy. Okay. We get the story of that, but then all of a sudden, poof.
There is a reason for that.
We didn't go take care of this.
There is a reason for that. Budgetary constraints due to the Great Depression hitting made them have to scale back a lot of what they were going to do. So what they did is they made up for it in dialogue. And that's something that I really enjoyed in this movie was the storytelling of it. But I'm going to get into that too.
Yeah.
Do you have any more cons?
No, I just kind of didn't like that they went into that whole thing with Lucy being the lady in white.
Lady in white. And then about her attacking people and getting people.
Yeah, and then... What happened?
And
we've just forgotten about her.
That's why I want to get into this now with the pros. I loved the storytelling, the fast-paced storytelling of this movie.
It is a good story.
It's paced really quickly. It's an hour and 20-minute movie. It goes by really quickly. But they don't sacrifice the story for trying to get through shit. They talk about it. They put the dialogue in the right places. It weaves and it immerses you in this very just like tapestry of a film. And you get immersed into it to where, like you said, they may not have shown what happened to the woman in white or them going after her like they do in other Dracula films.
Yeah.
But they talk about her as if she's out there. And they end the movie in such a way, because a lot of these old movies, you ever notice, these old Universal monster films, they kind of just end.
Yeah, they do. They really do just
end. They don't just have, like, they don't, like, really have a real... I think that was something that was still being worked on at the time. Yeah, it was something that was still being worked on at the time. They killed Dracula or whatever, and then it would just end. That was it. They walked up the stairs, boom, movie over.
Yeah.
That wasn't something that was just how things were made back then.
That is.
But the story is still there. We had them talking and reading the paper about the White Witch, or about the woman in white.
The lady in white.
What she was doing, you know, that it was a big mystery. And in future Dracula movies, we'll see what happens there. Personally, honestly, I can tell you this right now. Out of the Universal movies, of the Dracula films, the first one's the only one I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of the other Frankensteins, because I really got into them about a year or so ago.
Yeah.
But before that, I had only seen a couple of these movies in bits and pieces. I hadn't really watched. So these are actually like new experiences for me, for the most part. But I'm loving them, man. Ever since I started watching them, to me, and I know I'm going off on a tangent here.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a word in, but
I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry. I'm just so like, these movies mean a lot to me. They really do. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll let you go.
Now, that's why my con came in of that of Lucy, because like he's saying, watching it, I've seen this movie, but now I'm trying to do a review on it. So I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of somebody that saw this film for the very first time back in 1931. That's why I said that's a con. Because if I was back in 1931 and just saw this, I'd be kind of like, well, aren't we concerned about this other vampire?
There is actually 2 scenes that were cut from the film. And one of them, I think, did have to do with Lucy.
Okay.
And the other one was at the end. It was a monologue of one of the producers at the end of the film talking to the audience, telling them that vampires were real and vampires would get them. And they thought it was too scary and the censors made them cut it.
Oh, really? Well, I'll be damned. Well, let's get into my first pro of this film. I'm going to go off of what he was going with the story and the atmosphere. I'm going to go off something else that makes that stuff good as well. That would be the set designs.
They look great.
Come on. I mean, they helped set that atmosphere.
In old Hollywood, they weren't traveling to different countries.
And there were some things where in the background, that looked like a painting to me.
Yeah, the matte paintings look great.
Ah,
in black and white,
beautiful.
Too. The set designs, like you said, coupled with the cinematography, Carl Frohn's cinematography, the way he lit certain things.
Yes.
The way, like, how there's a part in the thing where Renfield just kind of fades into the back, and it goes black on him, and you can't, and it's just looked really cool.
That is a pro of mine as well as the lighting.
You know, even in a black and white film, cinematography is so important.
The lighting,
the way things are lit, the way things are shot, everything is so important in a black and white film.
Whenever they did a close up on Dracula, they made sure to make sure his eyes, not the rest of his face, just his eyes, were lit the most. And it was good.
And that's something they did in these older Universal films that I noticed they do it in The Mummy. They do it in Frankenstein. And I think the best one is in Frankenstein, in my opinion. I'll get into that when we do Frankenstein.
Well, we'll get into that.
But that's something they do in these movies. They use a lot of close-up shots on their faces. And what these actors had to do was they had to use minute facial expressions and minute changes to intimidate the audience. They didn't have all the big CGI effects where they could make, you know, like Dracula go all fanged, you know, and they didn't have that.
You don't need it.
No, you don't. Not for they didn't
need it.
They worked off the strength of their actors, and that's why I'm going to say this: actors back then, in my opinion. Now there are some exceptions because there are some people I think are the greatest actors ever, but a lot of these actors, in my opinion, are way better as actors, as in honing their craft, because they had to do all that. I think a lot of actors nowadays are getting lazy because of all the special effects and things like that.
I'm going to go off that even more here to make the point that you don't need the special effects. Terrifier, Art the Clown,
well, there was a lot of gore effects in that movie.
But he didn't utter a single word.
He did a great job acting and physical acting.
His facial expressions and his physical acting were phenomenal.
Yeah, just like I think the guy in Cat Sick Blues from Wildlife did a great job. And even in the new Ari Aster film, Midsommar, we got some really good physical acting that you didn't need a lot of special effects and things for. Now, that's something else I want to talk about is, like I said, the strength of the actors. We got so caught up in this. Bela Lugosi, of course, plays Dracula.
Yeah.
And we have who, in my opinion, steals the show in this movie, Dwight Fry as Renfield.
Yes. Yes.
He made me believe he was insane. Just the looks on his face, the faces, he was like...
And the noise.
Yeah, but his face, he had this huge fucking smile and these eyes that just looked so fucking...
Looked like they were about ready to pop out of his head.
Dude, if we would have had a Joker movie back in the day, this dude should have played him. He looked like the fucking Joker.
Just put some makeup on.
His face is so huge. Oh my God. He stole the show, in my opinion. He was so good.
I agree. That was one of my pros, too, was not just the acting of everybody in this film, but him in particular.
Bela Lugosi, I got to mention Bela Lugosi and Dwight Fry as individuals, both their performances. Bela Lugosi, when he would reach for somebody, you would think that there was cutaway kills in this, or cutaway feedings, or neck suckings.
Yeah.
Every time Dracula would go in to feed on somebody, it would either shift to something else or go up, or it would do something else. So you never actually saw Dracula in this movie feed on somebody, and it didn't seem to matter because it still felt like it was. The atmosphere of this film, everything about... Dude, I'm sorry, this film's badass. If you haven't seen it, you got to check it out.
You have to check this film out.
Got anything else you wanted to talk about specifically?
Specifically about this film.
Because I know we're we're running out of time, and...
Well, I don't think we're running out of time, but no, it's just... all around a great film. I can't wait to get into the next monster film. Because, honestly, I'll tell you, my personal favorite was The Creature from Black Lagoon. That's my personal favorite.
Jason, that's his favorite creature too, but he prefers the second movie to the first. A lot of people do, I hear. They prefer Return of the Creature to the regular. My personal favorite is the one we're probably going to be doing next, and that is Frankenstein.
Hell yeah.
You know, and also there again too, a lot of people think that the second movie is
better than the original.
In fact, the second movie is the only one of this series that I know of in Frankenstein that actually got a single Blu-ray release with the glow-in-the-dark cover. And that's because it was like, for its time, it was a groundbreaking film.
Oh, yeah.
Their special effects in that one, they were groundbreaking. It was really cool looking.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, guys, I'm going to be fucking high point here, and I'm going to go out talking about Dracula's smile. It was badass. You know, he just looked fucking evil. Gotta love it.
Fuck no, Renfield's smile was better.
Renfield's smile was better, too. BroncoJuggalo, this was a trip. It was a lot of fun. Can't wait to do the next one.
And Bill here saying, this was a great trip down memory lane.
You know, I haven't seen this movie since we watched it in film class in high school, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember most of it. So, I mean, come on. That's why I didn't give a synopsis. We all know the story of Dracula. People that have never seen the books, never read a book, or never seen a movie know the story of Dracula.
Everybody damn well should.
Guys, BroncoJuggalo saying peace.
And as always, good night.
Things that I wouldn't do to taste your blood.